All right. Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. This is John Kinnanen here with What's Working Now, and I have Albie Stasek with me today. He is a rockstar agent from Cleveland. Is it? No, Cincinnati. Cincinnati? Cleveland, Ohio.
I do love Cincinnati.
What's that?
I do love Cincinnati. I love the hills and the mountains down there and the people down there. But I am from Cleveland, born, raised here, and I love Cleveland for sure.
How long have you been in the real estate industry there? And
man, it feels like a long time. Probably because it has. But August will be 22 years licensed. I started young. My dad was licensed real estate agent. Kind of growing up, he did it part time, and he worked a full time job as well in the union. And back in the 80s, it was a different. Real estate offices were a lot different than they are today. Let's just say that. So I kind of grew up going into the office with my dad after he got home from his full time job. That's when I discovered I would never want to be a real estate agent because the environment then is not what we see today. When you walk into some of the real estate offices today, or just the environment, it was much different. Everyone's smoking in the office, very male dominated, very, very rough, was kind of how the memories conjure up from when I go into those offices. Obviously things turned around and I did decide to get into the industry, and I'm grateful that I made the decision when I did. But yeah, 22 years.
22 years, that's amazing. So you probably know a little bit about what works and what doesn't work, I'd have to say. You've probably done a little bit of everything. If you were a new agent just getting into the industry, what would be your piece of advice for them on how to get really their first transaction?
So, that's a great question. And I think that a lot of veteran agents would look back and say, well, here's what I did to get my first transaction. But that would not be an accurate or fair advice to give to a new agent today, because when I came into the industry in 1998, the internet was starting to boom, but it wasn't in the real estate industry. Realtor.com hadn't even launched yet. It was about to launch, actually. And so, I picked up the phone and I hit expireds. And I just called expireds, and I didn't even know what I was talking about. I didn't even know what I was doing. I just went for it, ended up landing two listings. So I'm not going to say not to go after expireds, because those have always been a great source of business for me. But in today's environment, we're short on listings. Inventory levels are low, at least in Northeast Ohio, inventories are low. And so you're going to see less and less expired opportunities. So, then I would say you have basically kind of two options. And this is a lot because of technology. Option number one, and this has kind of been my go-to for years, is that for a brand new agent, I would tell them to hop aboard a really solid team that is able to mentor you, to give you the support, give you the extra coaching, training, maybe some lead generation, and can really walk you through what it's like to go on your first listing appointment and go out with you. And what we do is we go on the first 2 or 3 listing appointments with new agents. And so I'd find a good team if I was to start all over again. If the team thing wasn't your bag, and for some people they just kind of like working solo, and there's nothing wrong with that either, I would probably link up with somebody like Mike, Jay, Woods Davis, myself, who can help you build sales funnels. And a sales funnel is nothing more than turning a marketing dollar into a client. And that's one of the number one things that agents struggle with is, they come and they get their real estate license and they blow through all the people who know, love, and trust, their sphere of influence. So their friends, their family buy from them. And, I literally at least once a week have a call with an agent where, their number one problem is they don't know where their next transaction is coming from, because they've sold, all the homes they could to their family. And now they don't have any business left. And so that's just the marketing principles, how to turn a dollar into a client. In 2010, when I met Mike and Jay, that's what they taught me how to do. They didn't teach me to be a better realtor. They taught me to think like a marketer and become a student of the marketing game And that will, if you do that as a new agent and you fall in love with that process, it'll serve you for your entire career, because you're going to think differently about how you're going to grow your business. You're not going to be thinking about, where's my next transaction coming from? The better question you're going to ask yourself is, how can I develop a system that can bring consistent new business into my pipeline, so that I always have a constant stream of new business coming in?
Mm-hmm. Definitely, I agree with you. Since meeting Woods Davis and Reese and Jay Kinder and you, I mean, you guys are great people. Definitely always been there for me. Built a couple sales funnels with Woods and Reese, and they're really working out. Really good, working out, real nice.
Great, man. John, which ones did you build out?
The new construction funnel.
Yeah.
Using that right now. That seems to be the one that's really working really well. The open house funnel, I was using that before, COVID hit and things kind of changed a little bit in the market, and we weren't able to do open houses like we are now. So those are two that I really enjoyed that I've done. And then, now we're tying in automation, which I know you know all about. Maybe we'll get into that a little bit later.
I haven't tried the open house funnel, but just to put a little ending on what you just said about the new construction funnel. I don't know how long you've been running it, but we launched a new construction funnel for one of my agents on Tuesday. By Wednesday at noon, she had 22 leads.
Yeah. I had the same situation when I launched it. About a day into it, I had over 20 leads, and that's when the fun starts happening. You start turning pennies, dimes, nickels into dollars.
And John, I don't know about you, but my total spend for that 22 was $17 and some change for 20 leads. It's under $2 a lead. You're just not going to find, you know what I mean? Like that's insane cost per lead if you pay attention to that metric in your business. And if you don't, if you start spending money, I guarantee you will.
Right.
That's an extremely low. I mean, people would pay $11, $12, $13 a lead. When I was running radio ads, my average cost per lead was $350 per lead when I was running radio. So to have a lead, the cost to acquire a customer under $2, it's almost free. I mean, that's nothing.
Right.
If you're successful there, you might be in the wrong industry, I'd say.
Right. It's funny you say that too, because the first year I was in the industry, I started buying Zillow leads, because I didn't know what I was doing, how to get started, things like that. I didn't really have a mentor or anything like that. But, you're paying, you can pay a lot of money for those leads, and you can just generate them for, like you said, $2 a lead almost, get the same outcome. What would you say to, I know you've been in the business for 22 years, so what would you say to a seasoned agent, somebody that's been in the business for a while? What would you say to them if they're trying to take their game to the next level, try to get, what would you say to them? What would be your piece of advice?
Well, there's Mike and Jay kind of developed, I think it's about 7 or 8 different stages of your real estate business.
I love that. So
when you look at the different stages, it's kind of hard to answer your question. So I'll do my best, because if you're talking about an agent who's already doing 20, 25 deals and they're looking to get to 50, it's a different question than someone who's doing 50 and wants to get to 150. And the reason it's different is because it's based upon, leverage and the different leverage points that you start to grow and invest into your business. I always tell people, they look at our big team in Cleveland and they say, well, oh man, wow, that must be great. Must be making all kinds of money. I can tell you this. Here's the big secret. The most profitable real estate business is the business that, where you are the listing agent, you're listing houses, which is your highest leverage activity other than recruiting productive agents, which is also a high leveraged activity. And you stick to your high leveraged activities, and you have maybe one assistant, one other agent who could be a buyer's agent, or an agent who can take the business that you can't handle or don't want because it's under a price point you don't want. And by running that type of model, you're going to have the most profitable business that you can pretty much ask for. There's just so much money to be made in that model. Now, the downside is that it's not scalable, meaning, you know, I don't remember who said it, but you can't scale the hero, right? So if you are the rainmaker, if you are the person out making sales, I know that you told me behind in the green room before we came out on this podcast that you got 7 under contract closing for July. That's amazing. You know, it's kind of really, when you think about it, the money that you can make in this industry, it's hard to like name another industry where you can make it with very little investment. The return on investment can be great. Where I ran into an issue in growing my business was that I was tired. You know, I mean, I've always been a hustler. I'm still a hustler today, but when you've sold thousands of homes, you've been on thousands of listing appointments. Sometimes people get burned out a little bit, you know, and that's when I think you start to want to, you know, you develop more leadership skills. You start developing a team where you open up your own brokerage, and you go into you start moving to the direction of, you know, I need more freedom. The money's great, but now I need more freedom. So you start to trade money for freedom, right? I think that I'm not trying to avoid your question, but it's finding that even balance. And what we always start with is the clarity report. And so you know, whenever we start to coach a new agent, that we give them the exercise of the clarity report to go through. And you know what? I don't know what the URL is, but there's actually a URL that people can get it for free. I just don't know it off the top of my head. I'll play around with it. But the clarity report is an exercise that agents can go through, and it takes them step by step to find out, number one, where are they? At what point, where are they in their business? And getting clear on that, figuring out where they think they want to go, and then reverse engineering the plan on getting there. That could mean, and what it boils down to is taking the right steps in the right order. And so the clarity report really helps you get clear on that, helps you get clear on your priorities, setting a strategic plan together, putting those priorities, and then really just focusing quarter to quarter on those priorities. Of course, after you break it into quarterly priorities, breaking it down to monthly, and then just really hyper focusing on what do I need to do to win the day? What do I need to do to win the week, the month, the quarter, and of course, the year. And just really micro, and it boils down to micro commitments. So that's kind of a generic answer to your question, but without knowing exactly where someone's at in their business, they may have to make an investment into it could be a people investment into someone to help leverage them, whether it be an assistant or another agent on their team, or it could be an investment into a system of some kind. But without knowing where they're at, it's kind of hard to answer that question.
Okay, thank you. I think I heard this saying from Michael Reese, actually, but I have it written down here as there is a saying I once heard that the best agent doesn't always win, but the best marketer does. I think he's the one that said that to me one time.
What was it? What was that again?
The best agent doesn't always win the listing, but the best marketer does.
Yes, it sounds like that sounds like a Reeseism.
Reeseism, nice. I like that. What would be some of your advice for marketing when it comes to marketing? You as an agent to really, you know, get people to come to you rather than you chase them.
Well, the first step that, you know, in marketing is figuring out who you're marketing to, you know, and what we call that is your target audience. Who is it? Is it buyers? Is it sellers? Is it both? Really narrowing that down. What I did, and this was when I was still in the seat of a listing agent, which I am not anymore with my team. I'm kind of, you know, I have someone running my team at this point on a day-to-day basis. His name's Joel. He's amazing. And so I'm completely out of the sales side of my business, and I have a very light position in the leadership role as far as helping Joel run the place, but he really runs it on his own. He doesn't need me. I just get in the way, basically. But my love, and it probably always will be, is in marketing. So I still have my hand into the marketing pieces of the business. And what we focus on is what is the target. So for me, when I was still listing homes, my target was sellers. I was not going after buyers. I was not running one ad that had anything to do with targeting a buyer. I was going after sellers. Specifically, I wanted sellers who were either moving up or moving down. Because if you focus on, that demographic of a person, that's 2 transactions with 1 client. You think about it. So you're doubling your business without having to double your marketing budget by focusing on move up and move down. So the first step in, launching your marketing campaign is really getting hyper focused on who is your target. Who are you talking to in your messaging? Your messaging has to be all directed to who you are talking to. If you're somebody who is a broker and your number 1 priority is to recruit productive real estate agents, well, then you get to sit down and figure out who are those productive real estate agents. What keeps them up at night? What are their biggest fears in growing their business, or what do they have? Like, what are they experiencing right now that is a problem in their business that you can help them solve? That would be if you're looking for real estate agents. If you're looking for sellers, what's the number 1 thing that keeps sellers up at night? And the reason why you want to go through this exercise is what you're doing is you're identifying their pains, and then the goal would be to provide solutions to those pains. And those solutions are going to be communicated through the content that you put out. Looks like content like you're doing right now. You're putting great content out for real estate agents right now. If I was out there looking for sellers, I'd be doing something similar. I'd be doing a podcast that would help solve the problems of people who are thinking of selling their house. What you're doing by doing that is you're casting a giant net, because the truth of the matter is 95%, somewhere right around 95, it could be 97, it could be 93, right around 95% of the people are indifferent, meaning they're not going to be buying or selling a house from you. So you're talking, when you're messaging and you're only talking to the 5%, you're blocking out the other 95%. But if you put content out there that's informative, that's a little bit entertaining even, and it applies to everybody, now when the 95% are ready to move into the 5% who are going to list their house, they already know, love, and trust you. You've already gained authority with them. So the odds of you getting a phone call or a text message or an email from them, because you continuously made deposits into the relationship bank account that you have with them, that increases your chances of getting that call. And that's what I did consistently for years. I did it through radio. I did it through print, little magazine called Mimi, where I consistently put good content out. People, I'll just give you one example. I targeted expireds without having to make an expired phone call, because I put articles out as to why the prettiest home on the street didn't sell. Well, and what are all the ways a home, what are all the reasons why a nice home on a street doesn't sell? Well, we could break it down to marketing. Number 1, there's a marketing principle somewhere in there that the agent missed, or they weren't able to get enough authority with their seller to convince them to do what they needed to do, whether that could be staging the home, emptying it out, doing some upgrades, changing out the carpet, paint, whatever, those types of things that we all know is going to increase the perceived value of the home. Right. So they didn't do a good job of that, or the agent just skipped it and said, "Hey, let's slam a sign in the yard and take some pictures up with my iPhone." And a lot of times that's what we see why homes don't sell, because they just aren't marketed properly. So, I mean, that's what I would do. I would identify that target market, and then, launch your marketing campaign and speaking directly to those people.
Right. Kind of have like a marketing plan, get with somebody that's been there, that's done what you want to do, and see how they did it and put your marketing plan in place. And that even takes me back to the new construction funnel that we were just talking about. We're targeting people that are moving up, and so you could possibly get 2 transactions out of it. You could get the sale of their home, and they're purchasing a new construction home. So
yeah,
that's a good option, really.
Yeah, if you're an agent listening to this, hit John up. He can direct you in the right direction on getting one of those new construction funnels up and running. Definitely. You're absolutely right. The reasons why the new construction funnel works so great is, A, inventory levels are down everywhere. So
Yep.
they're looking for a new home in the existing home market are missing out. They're missing out on their first 2, 3, 4, 5 tries because they're getting outbid in multiple offer situations. They're getting frustrated. So a lot of times they'll say, okay, well, let's just go to a builder and build. This is getting frustrating. So you're going to get those people. And like you just said, a lot of those times, someone who's going to build a home, a lot of times first time home buyers don't build a home first time around. They usually buy something existing. So odds of getting 2 transactions out of it are pretty good when you're running one of those kinds of funnels.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. And then when we add the automation and the campaign into it, it's gold. It's golden. You've been in the industry for 22 years. I like to ask real estate agents this question, and I usually get a similar response from all of them. I want to see how you respond to it. But have you ever had a real estate coach? And if you did, who was it?
I've had many real estate coaches. I've had many coaches. I have a coach right now.
Do you?
Yeah. So, my first coach that I hired was really, in 2010 when I hired Mike and Jay and Kinder Reese. My coach with them that was working with them was Cliff Freeman, who also happens to be my sponsor here at eXp Realty. He's a brilliant, amazing real estate coach. Really opened my eyes up and held me accountable. And it was a great experience. It was I would call that period of time, 2010, the rebirth of my real estate career, because I wasn't new at that time. I just didn't know what I didn't know. I didn't have the person showing me the ropes. So you figure, do the math. I was in the business by 2010. I was already 12 years into the business. I still didn't understand the principles of marketing. I was really learning from, some people that were just doing things the old way. It wasn't because they were bad or anything like that. They were all good people that I was working with. I never worked with a bad person, but they were basing what they did off of things that they were doing 20 years ago. And that, I guess it could still work, but it wasn't really, that's not how I wanted to grow my business. I wanted to be innovative and find a better way to serve people. So, I'm not sure if I answered your question.
You did. You did answer my question. You did have a coach. You still do to this day, even when you're on top of your game.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. I always say, you find somebody that has what you want, and you do what they did so you can get what they got, right?
Well, it's a shortcut to success, and everyone looks at the price tag. And I can tell you this, I've literally spent hundreds of thousands of dollars in coaching. And it's returned millions. And, in order for a coach to work, you have to be humble, hungry, and smart. You have to have those 3 ingredients: hungry, humble, and you have to have a little bit of brains. Not a lot, but a little bit. And you got to be able to take action on what they say. The humble part is because you have to be okay being wrong. You're coming to somebody for a coach, for advice, for guidance. They're not there to motivate you. If you're looking for a motivational person, you can go on YouTube and get that. That's not what you hire a coach for. You hire a coach to hold you accountable, to guide you the right direction, to shrink time is really what it boils down to. And finding the right coach. So after Cliff Freeman, I joined the mastermind level at Kinder Reese, and my coach ever since then has been John Kitchens. John Kitchens is, anybody in Honey Badger Nation knows John Kitchens, but if you don't, he's an amazing human being. He's an amazing coach, real estate coach, and a lot of times life coach. He's also one of my best friends. And I have another coach that I use for a different, let's call it angle or aspect of my life and business, and that's John Sheplak. So I got 2 coaches, both named John. I don't get them confused at this point, but I invest into coaching ever since 2010. I've always invested into coaching. It's been the best investment ever that I've made in myself personally and professionally. So I'm a fan for sure.
I love John Kitchens, man. I met him when I met you. you know, when you guys did that NAEA training. And, you know, the two things I liked about both of you is when I went up to you guys to ask you guys questions, you guys both stopped what you were doing completely, no matter what you guys were doing, you know, because you guys are busy. You guys are putting on a seminar, teaching us what to do, and you guys just stopped doing what you're doing, and you gave 100% attention to whatever my question was at the time. It made me feel like I was the only person in the room. It was a great experience, and that was the first time I met John Kitchens and you, and every time since then it's been the same experience, man. You guys, both of you guys, are great people.
Appreciate that. Was that in Cleveland?
Yeah, it was.
Cleveland event.
Top golf after that, and
yeah,
my wife.
I hope we can launch something like that again, man, soon. I'm missing the live, you know, the live face to face, shoulder to shoulder, handshaking. You know, it was all, you know, kind of taken away from us, hopefully just temporarily, but we're itching to get back out there and start, you know, teaching. We got a lot of cool new stuff to teach too. That's the great thing. In fact, I'm working on a new webinar right now on you know, on funnels, on some of the stuff that we're doing and seeing the success in some of the sales funnels. At the end of the day, Mike, Jay, myself, Woods, our purpose has changed. You know, you know, if you were to talk to us 10 years ago, our number one thing is how can we sell another 100 homes a year? You know, and now that's shifted to how can we show other agents how to sell a couple hundred homes? You know, and so helping solve those problems is what gets us out of bed early and sets us to bed late. We love helping agents solve problems, whether it's marketing, whether it's hiring, how to hire better, whatever it is. So that's what we're here to do. And we're excited to, you know, link up with new people like you that are action takers. So appreciate you, John.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
And after that event, I got to tell you a little story here. I've had to go to top golf now, like 3 or 4 times now. My wife and I fell in love with it, you know, because it was so much fun, man. Go was there. It was awesome.
Yeah, it was a fun time for sure.
You've been in the industry a long time, like we've said a few times now. I've been in the industry for 22 years. So you've probably used several different CRMs in this time, and I get this question from other agents all the time whenever I talk to them is, what CRM am I using? You know, what's the benefits to it? So what CRM do you think is the best out there? Or is there just one, you know, or is there multiple? You know, they all have their benefits, but
there's a lot of great CRMs out there. I certainly have not used them all. A few that come to mind, I used Boomtown back in the day. That's an amazing platform. Loved Boomtown. Switched over to Commissions Inc. because we ended up developing a really great relationship with Dwayne Legate when he was launching the company. And I launched the first Commissions Inc. website in the Cleveland area when that first came out. We still to this day have Commissions Inc. It's a great, you know, platform for running a team. If you're an individual agent, that can be expensive, and I probably would not recommend it. I would, for an individual agent, especially if you're going to partner with us at EXP, you get an amazing, like 5-star type of website called KV Core, and it's included in your fees. You don't even have to pay extra for it. And so a lot of times our agents are using those. If you're looking to launch funnels to attract seller leads or even buyer leads, I would say Attract ROI. I could put a link to how they can get a 14-day free trial for Attract ROI if they want. That's what I use. And that's what we're, you know, like the new construction funnel is already in there, so they don't have to go and try and create it. And I don't know if I'm able to put anything in the comment section here. Well, you can type it in, right?
Yeah, I gotcha.
Yeah, if you want to just put attractsellers.com.
Attract sellers? Okay.
Yeah, attractsellers.com. There's a 14-day free trial that they can get.
All right, I'll do that.
Yeah. And so, you know, I think the best CRM, having said all that, is the one you use. And I made a mistake years ago. I think I've probably hired Top Producer or bought Top Producer as a CRM probably 4 or 5 times throughout the 22 years I've been in real estate. And I would cancel it. Then I'd be like, man, I need the CRM. Then I would cancel it. Part of it was because I didn't take the time to learn the tool. Even Top Producer. I know one of my really good friends has been running his team over out of Remax with Top Producer for years and loves it. He's never switched away. You know, runs, you know, he sells, you know, over 100 homes a year and, you know, cranks away and loves the Top Producer. So it's the one that you're going to use the best. Now, every one of those has its own limits as well. So when I say it has its limits, you know, like Top Producer, you're not going to be able to build the funnels that you can build out of, you know, that you can with Attract ROI. And so, you know, even Commissions Inc., you can't build the funnels in Commissions Inc. like you can with Attract ROI. Plus, Attract ROI is cheaper than all of them. So like under $200 a month. So, you know, you're looking at Commissions Inc. Before you even run any traffic, you're at $1,400 a month. It might be a little more. I think it's right around $1,400 a month. That's just for the platform. And so, you know, we have that because we have 40 agents on our team that we have to support. And that, you know, that Commissions Inc. platform supports the 40 agents comfortably. You know, right. So if you don't have 40 agents, and most don't, then I wouldn't make that big investment, you know. And it really kind of just has to, it's got to, you know, it has to fit your budget, but it also has to fit your goals and the tools that the CRM has. You know, if it doesn't have tools that will provide you with a way to, you know, attract cold audience and turn them into warm audience, eventually into clients through automation, you probably should keep looking until it has the capability to help you with that, because that ultimately, you know, if agents were armed with the ability to build a system that worked while you were sleeping, that automatically, we call it automagically, turns cold traffic, meaning strangers, into warm prospects, then all you have to do is learn the sales skills to convert those prospects, and you have a really great practice, right?
Yeah.
It's just the number one thing that most agents are missing, because technology is hard too, you know, figuring that out. That's why we just kind of, we put these systems in done for you. So when, you know, you partner with us, you partner with somebody like John, you get all this stuff done for you. So you're not in the clouds wondering, what am I going to do next?
Yeah, definitely. And I've been using Attract ROI as well. And for one, that is a game changer. The automation that is set up there, you know, that's just built right into it. It's amazing. Prospecting, you know, there's multiple different ways to prospect. And I know you said you're not really involved in the sales side of things anymore, really, but if you were going to give a piece of advice for people that are out there, you know, prospecting, what would you recommend? Would you phone calls? Would you say internet, Google? There's multiple different ways to do it. What would you do?
Well, when we talk about prospecting, the very art of prospecting is blocking some time out and making phone calls, sending text messages, sending video texts. Prospecting in today's world. So in order to prospect, you have to have some kind of a lead or a prospect to call, right? So I'm going to answer your question assuming that someone who's having trouble with prospecting already has people to call, but they're not having any luck getting a hold of them. So here's what we've kind of seen. We have an 11, we call it the 11 attempt methodology. You know, every lead you should be just hammering 11 attempts before you stop and give up on it. And I'm not talking about 11 phone calls. I'm talking about 11 attempts. That should include a phone call. It should include, and a lot of people aren't going to answer the phone, but it doesn't mean you don't call them, right? It should include a text message. It should also include a video text, which is that right there is the gold nugget. If you're writing stuff down, write down, start video texting my prospects, because no one else is. Your competition's not video texting them. They're trying to call them. there's a million people. I get robocalls all day long. I just keep sending people to voicemail all day long because I don't recognize the number. And I'm afraid that it's going to be, some spammer trying to call me. And so video text your clients. Just literally grab your cell phone. It doesn't need to be fancy, and send them a quick little message. Hey, this is Al Stasek. I saw that you were looking at homes in Westlake on my website. I'm on appointments right now. I should be freed up in about 2 hours. So if you get this message, feel free to shoot me a text back. Let me know you got it, and maybe a free time that I could call you so that we can connect. Have a great day. That's it, and then sending that over. And that's a great way of growing affinity with someone who doesn't even know who you are. Now they know that you're not some robot on the other side trying to telemarket them or anything. They know you're a human being who's reaching out, just trying to help. And that's the first step in making a connection with someone and getting rapport, is to develop trust. And we found there's no better way of doing that than, sending a video text over to them. Okay.
Yeah, a lot of people aren't doing that, and that was something that we actually covered in the NAEA training with Joel. You just, everybody has a phone, you just grab it, hang it. Hey, just like you said, send, and build rapport with them. Have you ever used Google AdWords? And if so, what was your experience with it?
Yeah, I mean, Google AdWords is another great source that you can get traffic driven to your funnel or your site from, depending on what, where you're driving them. It will tend to be a little bit more expensive, but from our experience, the cash conversion cycle is a little bit faster than, say, Facebook. Facebook, you can get low cost per leads all day long. And that's great. Like what we were talking about with the under $2 a lead on the new construction funnel, that's through Facebook traffic. If we were to switch over or just kind of run a Google pay-per-click ad to the same funnel, we could do that, but our cost per lead would be more expensive. But the chances of us closing a deal faster probably goes up too through Google, because someone is actually typing in keywords and doing a search and then coming up upon your funnel at that point. So it's not that there's a right or wrong. I would suggest split testing. When you have a campaign that you're going to launch, split test it with the two different sources, track how much money you're spending, track how many leads come in, and of course track the conversion of the sales as it relates to each different source. And that's the only time that you're going to know what's the right one for you, or maybe both are going to be right, and being both platforms are correct. Back in the day, 10, 15 years, I mean, everyone was using Google pay-per-click. Actually, back in 2003, 4, 5, Google pay-per-click was so cheap. I mean, that was the thing to do. I mean, because still a lot of marketers weren't using that. I mean, it was still new. The top marketers were all using it, but I mean, your average agent really didn't understand it. So the cost per click literally was super inexpensive. As the demand hits and more people are buying those keywords, the price keeps going up. So it's a little bit more expensive, but it is a good way of getting people who are, really proactively. The difference between Google, pay-per-click, is someone's proactively typing those words and they're doing a search for something specific. Whereas with Facebook, we're just coming up in their feed because we're targeting them because of a demographic. They're not exactly looking for us on Facebook is what I'm trying to say. Whereas they're looking for us on that's the distinction that you should be making as a marketer between the two platforms.
What is your biggest priority in real estate business right now? Where do you want to take your business? What are you going to concentrate on here in the next 5 years? Where do you see yourself? Where are you going to take your business?
Well, right now, our Honey Badger Nation, which is our international group of agents in the U.S. and Canada that we've been growing and that we've been, coaching and mentoring and helping, which you're a part of, is sitting over 4,000 agents right now. And so, we're obviously we're looking to go to 10,000 agents. That's our next pinnacle, if you will, And so we see that happening over the next couple of years for sure. We joined eXp Realty. This August will be 3 years. When I moved my brokerage over with 10 agents, it all started with 10, the first 11, if you will, if you count me, Honey Badgers. August 15th, 2017 is when it all began. And the company, eXp, was not in all 50 states. We might have been in one province of Canada, maybe. And the company had a total of 4,000 agents in the whole company. Now we have over 31,000 agents in the whole company, and we have 4,000 just in our group. So we're going to, our goal is to keep expanding on that, adding more value, helping other people grow their real estate business. This is what I feel like I was born to do this right now, helping other people grow. And so we're going to, we're just continuing on that, having fun, creating great experiences, building memories. And yeah, that's kind of where we're taking it to 10,000 agents, man, in our group.
That's awesome. Happy to be a part of that nation too. I mean, you get so much support in there, so much training. It's just an amazing group of people, really. I'm looking forward to, I hope we're still going to do it. I don't know. I haven't heard we're not going to do it yet, but September, you go to St. Thomas, right?
Yeah, we just had a meeting on that. And yeah, that's on. St. Thomas, yeah, they're ready for us. It's going to be at the Ritz in St. Thomas. And, a lot of people like to make an extended vacation out of it because, let's face it, you're in the Virgin Islands and it's absolutely stunningly beautiful. It's my favorite place in the whole world. And so I've done it in the past where, we've taken the family for a week prior to it and, stayed in, St. John and then, went and did the mastermind. And we've done it where we've done an excursion afterwards and went into the BVIs. So I would recommend, if you're going to go to that, you can go to kinderstasek.com and apply. You don't just get admitted because you paid the ticket. You have to apply, get approved, and then we'll send you information for payment if you're approved to come. But it's a great time. It'll change your life for sure. We have Ryan Stuman, the hardcore closer, coming in and dropping some amazing nuggets. He's an amazing human being and a good friend. We're going to have probably another, at least one more keynote speaker coming in too. We're working on that as we speak. So yeah, kinderstasek.com to apply. But right now it's on. And then of course, Brent Gove's Brent Gove hired Tony Robbins. You should come to Dallas in August for Tony Robbins, excuse me, event. The general admission's already sold out. I think there's 3 other ticket levels of VIP that you can still purchase with pretty affordable tickets. I mean, because it's Tony Robbins, right? Like to go see Tony Robbins at one of his events is like $4,000. It's nominal. It's a couple $100, I think, for the because general admission was I think like $197. I think that's gone. So maybe it's like $390. I don't know the prices, but trust me, it's gonna be worth it. Tony's gonna light the stage up. Dallas. I'm super excited for that, and that's in August.
Definitely looking forward to that too. My wife does real estate with me, so both of us are going to St. Thomas. We're going to make an extended vacation of it. That's right around our anniversary. So we'll be together 7 years. So we're going to take that as an opportunity to visit the Virgin Islands a little bit, see what's going on down there.
You won't be disappointed, John.
Yeah, definitely. And then Dallas will be fun. I've never seen Tony Robbins before, but I'm a big fan of him. Doing the 7-day challenge with him right now, actually. I just started a little Facebook group.
Yeah, I just signed up for that too. That was pretty cool.
Did you sign up for it too?
Yeah, yesterday. I was late, but I watched yesterday's. Yeah.
Yeah, GoGo's in there too, so that's cool. But yeah, I'm gonna let you go. Thank you for your time today. Appreciate all the knowledge you dropped on us. Hopefully, people got out of it. I got to jump on a call with Woods Davis here in a minute. So.
All right, sounds good, John. Thanks for having me, man. We'll see you.
No problem.
All right, brother. Take care.
You too.